This is one of the darkest days for DC. DC Studios seems to be blaming everyone but themselves, and if I'm right, then this looks really bad for the new co-heads of DC. Hey everyone, welcome back to our movie news. Yesterday, an article from The Wrap was released about DC. Now, if you don't know, The Wrap is pretty much a mouthpiece for Warner Brothers, and so if someone at Warner Brothers wants a certain narrative to be created, they go to The Wrap, and this article is no different. They claim that The Rock didn't allow Zachary Levi to cameo in a post-credit scene for Black Adam. Not only that, but according to The Wrap, the Shazam Fury of the Gods mid-credit scene doesn't feature the Justice Society members because The Rock would not allow Shazam to use those characters. And to add even more drama to the mix, Shazam star Zachary Levi shared this article on his story and added the caption, "The truth shall set you free." Now, this is all being released at a very particular time. Shazam Fury of the Gods is failing big time at the box office, and it seems that there are a lot of excuses flying around as to why it is failing. I've seen Levi throwing Snyder fans into the mix, the film's poor promotion, and now he and Warner Brothers are blaming The Rock. Now, whoever's side you are on, whether that be The Rock should have let Shazam be in his movie, or if you are glad that they stayed separate, the one thing that most can agree on is that Warner Brothers are once again playing the blame game. They've seen their two latest DC movies do poorly, and instead of staying quiet or admitting they've made a mistake, they've put out an article through The Wrap throwing all the blame onto The Rock. The two writers of this article, Scott Mendelson and Humberto Gonzalez, are two writers who are heavily known to be in Warner Brothers' pocket and have regularly thrown out hit pieces for Warner Brothers. This article is no different. So not only could this be very far from the truth, but even if it is true, it just shows that nothing has really changed at Warner Brothers. Even with the new management, the company is still throwing the people who have worked for them under the bus to try and save their own skin. They'd rather pin the blame on The Rock than go, you know what, we are in charge and we could have done something about it, but we didn't. The article doesn't even make sense. If we look back at past events, we know that this can't be the full truth. In August last year, The Rock went to Walter Hamada and asked to put Henry Cavill in Black Adam. He said no, but The Rock saw that the fans wanted him back, so he had to go over the DC president's head to Hamada's bosses, Abdi and DeLuca, to get permission to bring Henry Cavill back as Superman. That was in August of last year, but apparently it's The Rock's fault for not having the Justice Society in Shazam 2 or Shazam in Black Adam. If The Rock has to get permission to put Henry Cavill in Black Adam, how can he block Shazam from being in his movie and the JSA in Shazam 2? Sure, The Rock could have said he doesn't want Shazam connected to Black Adam in any way and said he doesn't want that to happen, but Warner Brothers has the final say. I know The Rock co-produced Black Adam, but that doesn't mean Warner Brothers can't overrule him if they disagree. Warner Brothers has the final say, but they're blaming it all on The Rock, instead of admitting that they had the final decision. That's the main problem. The main problem isn't what The Rock thinks of Shazam, that's irrelevant at this point. The problem is Warner Brothers are still throwing talent under the bus to save themselves. They'd rather throw out hit pieces about actors who have left the company than show some accountability for their actions. Now, I know a lot of people don't think Grace Randolph is a trustworthy scooper, however I think her business knowledge is fantastic and is something fans should listen to. Yesterday, she said this and I completely agree with her. Riddle me this. Why would anyone sign on for a DC movie when the new management is still stabbing talent in the back? The Rock gave his pound of flesh and walked away gracefully. I couldn't agree more. Why would anyone want to work on a DC movie when it could very easily be twisted onto them if it doesn't do well by the studio that is hiring you? Sure, you'd get a paycheck and would be working on a DC movie, but the way Warner Brothers could potentially treat you through news outlets could severely damage your career. It also means Warner Brothers are trying to claim that the reason Shazam Fury of the Gods failed was because of Shazam and Black Adam not having any connectivity, instead of looking at the way they promoted the movie, the way their universe is set up, and the fact that the new head of DC announced a reboot at the end of last year, which destroyed a lot of hype for this movie. Only one of those factors is something the new regime couldn't help. the way the DCEU isn't their fault. It's the fault of the old regime. Which is why, if they were going to play the blame game, why not blame the old regime? Shazam 2 was produced under their watch, and the entire DCEU was struggling because of them. They were the easy target to blame, and there is a lot of evidence to back up that reason. So why blame The Rock with a really poor excuse? Now, I have a little theory as to why Warner Brothers did this. I think it may be because a lot of fans were on board with The Rock after he brought back Henry Cavill as Superman. A lot of DC fans were happy because he managed to do what no one else was able to do: bring back Henry Cavill's Superman to the DCEU. And a lot of fans had faith that The Rock was pushing the DCEU in the right direction. Black Adam may have not been the best movie, but it was produced under the old regime who didn't listen to the fans. And so when the new regime came in, he was able to bring Cavill back because they were listening to the fans. And he promised that listening to the fans would be the top priority in the new era of the DCEU. And so when The Rock was kicked out alongside Henry Cavill by James Gunn and Peter Safran, a lot of fans, including myself, were really upset and angry with that decision. So I could very easily see this article coming out about The Rock as an attempt to make fans less upset about The Rock's departure, and in turn make them more open to the rebooted DCU. And I think that could have been a motivation from the start, wanting fans to turn on the DCEU so that Gunn could have more of a chance with his rebooted DCU. Why on earth would you announce at the beginning of the year that you're rebooting the DC universe? In what world is that a smart business decision? The company is in debt, and they've just announced that the next 4 DC movies are pretty much pointless to the future of the DCU. Also, blaming The Rock for Shazam 2's failure also pushes the pressure away from Peter Safran, who produced Shazam 2 and who is now the co-head of DC Studios, who is running the business side of DC. How bad does it look that the person now running the business side of DC Studios just had his DC movie bomb at the box office? Blaming The Rock shifts that blame from him to someone who is no longer working at the company. I think there are some really dodgy things happening at DC Studios right now, and I really don't like it. It just feels like the co-heads of DC Studios are so desperate to work on their new DCU that they don't care if the DCEU is affected, or possibly they want the DCEU to fail, so there is no reason for David Zaslav to second guess their plans on partially rebooting the universe. I honestly think and hope that if The Flash does really well, it will show David Zaslav that people do love this universe. All that was missing was a popular character reigniting the interest in this universe. In 4 years, we've had 6 DC movies, and only one has been about a big DC hero, and that was Wonder Woman 1984, released during the pandemic. If The Flash does well, it could prove that the DCEU still has a lot of demand, and I think DC Studios is worried about that. But I'm going to leave that theory there, so make sure to let me know what you think of today's news and my theory in the comments below. But that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. I hope to see you here again soon, so until then, have a great day. Bye!